Welcome to You Multicultural Channel. This is the Newcomer Network, and today we are having another immigrant story. And it's an immigrant story because my friend Joyce, she considers herself 50% Canadian, 50% immigrant. So, welcome her.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Joyce.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
How are you?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm great. I'm doing great.
I met Joyce a few months ago, and she's on TEDx. But I would like, Joyce, you to introduce yourself with our audience.
Yes, so my name is Joyce Namwira. I am Congolese by heritage, Canadian by nationality, and I work as a communications professional. I love everything storytelling, identity, and purpose.
And you came here when you were 2 years old.
2 years old, I was a little baby.
Why you consider yourself 50% Canadian and 50% immigrant?
Because my heritage is Congolese, and I know that a big part of me will always have its roots in Congo. But I also grew up in Canada, so the Canadian culture shaped who I am, gave me opportunities in this country, and really allowed me to dream big and work hard.
How do you remember yourself as a child?
I was a child who talked a lot. So I was always talking, telling stories, making people laugh. I had a lot of energy, and my family really cultivated that. They encouraged me to go into acting classes. I did a bit of theater growing up, and then I moved on to film. So that was me as a child.
And how did that journey shape who you are now? Because I see you're very successful. You lived in Ontario, you were working there, you came back. But how did your journey shape who you are now as a child?
Yeah, I think my upbringing was really rich. My parents were super, they were really dedicated in making sure that we never forgot where we came from. So even though we grew up in Canada, we spoke Swahili at home, which is our first language in the eastern part of Congo. We also ate Congolese food. We sang Congolese songs. We did Congolese activities with the Congolese community. So we had a very rich upbringing that always reminded us of our roots. And that shaped the love that I had for learning about my history and also advocating for some of the human rights things that I'm very passionate about.
So, do you speak Swahili?
I speak Swahili, I speak French, a little bit of Spanish, but it's been so long since I practiced that one.
Oh, qué bueno.
Yes, gracias.
Wow, so you were speaking Swahili in your house and English outside.
Yeah, so my parents were actually very strict. So Monday and Tuesday, we could only speak English. And then Wednesday, Thursday was French. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we had to speak Swahili.
No way.
So that's how we became a very multilingual kids growing up, yeah.
So you discovered since you were a child what you liked, and you're still doing that.
Yeah. So I remember there's even a video of me as a kid talking with my uncle, and I was asking him about Congo's history because I was so passionate of wanting to know our story, where we come from. Growing up in Canada, I feel like I only learned one side of history. So I was very curious to know more about what else is out there. So I ended up doing my master's at Oxford in England. I lived there for a year, and I got the chance to do my master's thesis in Congo. And that was really an eye-opening opportunity for me to be back home, to really be immersed in my heritage and culture, and also understand the history that I've been craving to know about since I was a kid.
Did you experience any challenge being a child or growing as an immigrant? But at the same time, you were Canadian because you grew up here. But
100%. I think as a child, I never understood the idea of racism. I just understood that I was different. And I had an accent, my hair was different from other people in my environment. I also wore different clothes, ate different food at lunch. So to me, I decided to change myself so I could fit in. I started wearing straight hair. I started wearing Canadian clothes, and I worked really, really hard to get rid of my accent. And I wish that I never had to do that as a child because now I'm so proud of that heritage.
Wow. Now that you mention that, this is very common.
Mm-hmm.
And adults say that from when they were children.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think this is an opportunity for all of us to work with our kids, to bring our cultures with pride.
Yeah, I think we don't talk about the experience of immigrant kids enough because, adults are trying to make a better life for their families. They're very focused on providing for their kids, working hard, but then you miss sometimes, maybe your child is struggling to fit in at school or at sports activities or at church. That's a very difficult change to go through as a child when you don't have the language to tell people what you're going through.
Yeah. And sometimes parents don't even imagine that that's going to happen.
No.
I have kids, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Joyce, so you were a child and a teenager and it was time for you to go to university.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, so I went to a French high school. I managed to graduate 1 year early. I was very, very academic focused and finished school. And then I went to the University of Manitoba, did my undergrad there. And then when it came to doing master's, I'm someone who loves to dream big. So I applied to 7 different master's programs in 7 different schools, 7 different cities. And I was surprised that I got into all 7 of those programs.
No way.
Yes. All of them, from Stanford to Columbia to Oxford to Goldsmith to University College of London. So I had a really big list I could choose from, and I ended up choosing Oxford.
Okay. And then you got a job.
Yes.
You moved to Ontario.
Exactly, yeah. So I got a job in the federal government. I started as a special assistant parliamentary affairs, and then I got promoted to press secretary. So I was working with the minister on her communications, writing speeches, supporting her with media relations, writing press releases, running press conferences. So very great experience at a young age that I am so grateful for.
And you left the job.
I did.
It was a good job.
It was a great job. But, I feel like everything happens in seasons. I did and learned so much in that chapter of my life, and then I was ready to pursue something else.
So you came to the unknown.
I
Because
mean,
you were not having, or did you have any projects already when you left?
when I left, no, I didn't have anything lined up. And that was the first time in my life where I didn't have a plan. I just knew that it felt like it was time for me to try something new and maybe just go back home. For me, sometimes there's no place like home. Like, I'm someone who's very community oriented, so family, community means a lot to me. And I really miss the home base that I had here in Winnipeg.
Would you do something different if you would have the opportunity to go back in time?
I don't think so, because everything I did led me to where I am now. Everything I did taught me something. It expanded my perspective. And yeah, I think I'm grateful for what I did. I don't know if I would change anything specifically, but I'm grateful for the decisions I made.
Tell us about the TEDx.
Yes.
Where did the idea came from? Because there's so many things to talk about.
TEDx was an amazing experience. And like you said, there are so many things you could talk about. But to me, it was really important that if I did something like this, and I always wanted to do something like that, I knew that the story that I could uniquely tell was the story of the Congo. I knew that I had an opportunity to really highlight and amplify the connection between our technology and the ongoing conflict that's happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
What would you say to our audience in order to encourage them to go and check it out?
So to the audience, I would say that the Congo story isn't just mine, it's everyone's story. The cell phones that we use, the laptops that we use, the electric cars, they're all connected to the conflict that's going in the Congo. And if you want to learn more about it, check out my TEDx talk. I cover this story, I cover why it's important to me and why it should also be important to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joyce. Because it's something that is not related to what you're doing now, and you want to bring this value, this information, so many people
Yeah, I
know.
mean, it's not related specifically, but it has been a common thread throughout my life. Like I said, my master's thesis was done in the Congo, so I actually got to work with survivors every single day and hear their stories. And that to me gave me a picture that I'll never forget. And so when it came to TEDx, I knew like those are the stories I want to be able to amplify. That's the idea I want to share.
I imagine when I go back to my country for holidays and I go there and I don't feel I'm from there, but I'm coming here and I'm missing. How did you feel after that?
It was so emotionally intense. Like I had been dreaming of going back home since I was a child. I wanted to see where my parents grew up, see where my grandparents are, see where I was born. So when I went there, I was just so overwhelmed with how good it felt to be at home. How good it felt to be with people who looked like me, people who knew me. I heard my language spoken all over the place on the streets. And then it just reminded me that, you know, I'm part of this place. But at the same time, I wasn't very much part of that place, you know. I was different. I spoke with an accent. They knew I was Canadian from from just hearing me talk. And it wasn't a lifestyle that I was used to, you know. Congo is very different from Canada and the things that we have here, that we're blessed to have here. But overall, I'd say that I was grateful. I got to see my grandparents, my cousins, my family. That was the best part.
I was going to ask you that because you mentioned I've met people who were like you, look like you.
Yeah.
But I don't think they thought you looked like them.
You know,
or did they?
I wonder. I don't know. I would hope so. My family knew, yeah. But I mean, on the street, people would just be like, "Oh, she's not from here." Yeah.
What would be an advice that you would bring to newcomers or immigrants to Canada based on your experience and everything that you have been going through?
My advice would be that you should never give up on your dream. I feel like Canada is the land of opportunities. It's not perfect, but it does have a lot of opportunities. So work hard, dream big, remember your community and the people who will always uplift you, and do what you love to do.
What are the plans for the future?
Okay, so this is gonna sound intense, but my plan is actually to go back to school.
No
I'm planning
way.
to go to law school, yes.
Law.
Yes.
How many years?
It's 3 years, so a longer program, but...
You're young.
Yeah, I'm young, I have the time, I have the passion. So I feel like where I see my career going, I need a law degree to be able to advocate more for the causes I'm passionate about, for the people I want to serve. And communications got me very far, but it can only get me so far. I think the real truth is in changing policy through law.
How do you see community building in Manitoba? Because when we go to different events, sometimes we see most of the people from the same communities. And I always say, we are all one community, but there are other small communities inside the same one.
Yeah.
So how do you see that? Do you see diversity when you attend events, or you see most of the people are from the same community?
Yeah, I think Winnipeg itself is very diverse, but our communities seem to be very separated.
Yeah.
You know, you see the Cameroon community, the Congolese community, Latin communities, very separate. But one thing that we all have in common is we're immigrants. We're trying to figure out life in Canada to build a legacy for our children. Like as a first generation immigrant myself, things that I'm thinking about is, you know, retirement. That'll be the first time for my parents to go through retirement. I don't have grandparents who have lived in this country who are leaving a legacy for us. We're building it as we grow, right? So I think we need to have conversations like these in places like this where immigrants can really get together and share what's working for them. How can we learn from one another, and how can we support each other?
Yeah, but sometimes people struggle to get out of their comfort zones and connect with other communities. Are you doing that, or any advice for the newcomer community?
I think you just have to do it. There's a lot that you're missing out on by not reaching out to other people, because there's so much you can learn. For me, growing up, the biggest thing that was helpful to me was mentorship. And it wasn't just from people who look like me, it was from people who understood me and wanted to support me. And that didn't matter if they were Caribbean, if they were men, if they were Ukrainian, or anyone. I was open to it.
Yeah, and when we do that, we have the opportunity to support others too. Because we have so many skills, and we have the knowledge, we have the support.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you so much for sharing part of your journey. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation.
I appreciate it.
Thank you to our wonderful audience. And see you next time at the Newcomer Network, new multicultural channel. I'm Jocelyn Gilbert, and I will be very happy to see you next time. Bye-bye.